All right, y'all, let's get into part 2 of Terrence Howard and the curved and straight lines, because this ties into the 10 and the 1 and 0. Okay, now a while ago I did a thing about the computer and the ones and 0 and the begotten, and that thing when these things were being revealed during the beginning of this thing that's been going on. But the curved and straight lines, this kind of associates us with the bees and the ants. And while both are working, there's a sense of there's a different type of freedom that comes with these. And yes, you get to leave the mound, you get to leave the hive, but the ants, they work like in that straight line, and they follow after each other, and they go to that one source for food and whatever. They bring it back to the mound and the queen and that kinds of things. And the bee, while it works under the queen and such as well, they're flying around the hive, and they're not grounded to the ground. They're able to be more agile, but they're in the heavens, in a matter of speaking, and one's is in the hell. But as the ants are working in a line, the bees, they zigzag all around while they're going from flower to flower to flower. They go to whatever flower they want to go to, whichever one's beautiful, whichever one smells good. So we can see how they're both working, but one is working a little bit differently than the other. This is where we get where people are going into the office structure, or this type of setting under a boss, and then the other person is going to work for themselves, or going to be an artist, or that kinds of thing. So the straight lines, the curved lines, this is the circumference, and the radius. This is the negative and positive, the magnetism that draws it together. And the 1 and 2, the 1 and 1, they come together to equal the 2, or the 3, and the 3 become the 1. So God, the God is us and our. It's the light and the dark, and when you get them together, that's the 3 are 1. All right? So we are that 3 and 1. We're the Satan, the Jesus, and the Lucifer. The positive, the negative, and the neutral. And the computer is the 10, and it runs on the 10 and the 1 and the 0. We run on the positive and the negative. We are the 10. We are the begotten Son. We are that light. We are the connect to the light. We are that sons of the light. We are the sons of the God. We are sons of God. We are God. We are the living God. We create things. We make things in our image, how we want them made. And we come and we use the earth, and we protect the earth, or we're supposed to protect the earth because it gives us what we need. And this is where the earth is saying, hey, I've had enough. We need to make changes. So this is where the earth is coming in and taking out lower systems, and it works through men, that antichrist that's already in the world, working through men. So it's that against the man spirit. So McDonald's is that antichrist spirit. And these things were given to us as a warning in the millennium, to let us know that these foods have changed, and to let us know that we weren't eating foods. And now they're letting you know you're not eating foods, because it doesn't go away. Oh man. So these are my notes right here in case y'all are wondering what I'm reading from. The curved and straight lines is tied to living and coming together. It's tied to going your own way and living by a culture. It's tied to how you have to have two things to create. There's not just one God, and if that God was one, it's certainly not a male, because the male can't even produce children. So it's just it's a hate on women. And if you look at the history of our nation and how men have ruled and how we're going into new heaven and earth, into where the masculine spirit isn't ruling, the feminine spirit is going to rule. And that doesn't mean women are going to rule. It means the feminine spirit is going to rule. So this is where we see a change in balance, and where you get like Xi Ping. That Xi Ping would be a feminine spirit. The Xi Ping is the leader of China, for those of you who are asleep or whatever. And that's an XI for the 11 on your clock, because the X is the 10. And then the 10 is also the X for your X app, and the 10 is the 10 for your computer that your computer runs on for your AI and all those. So that's part of your begotten son coming back. The computer, the millennial, the millennium setting up, that age where we can do all things through the computer and the world is at our fingertips. That's the second coming of Jesus, and he's coming inside of us. And he came inside the United States through Bill Gates and Microsoft and the Apple and Jobs. The Apple was that knowledge of life for us to eat from. And now that serpent's coming out, and that serpent is tied to this Russell periodic table that Terrence is talking about, that works in a curved line, that frequency. And this is where Eve is hearing that sound, like, hey man, I gotta get that I gotta start thinking for myself, because these men are controlling me. As far as like that literal sense, how the church teaches it, because they just all blend all that shit into one. They can't understand it's talking about like the four heads are separated in the first 6 chapters of Genesis. But Terrence Howard is bringing on this Russell period odd dick. The odd dick is the one going in strange places, and the strange places is the queer. Okay. So the come, poo, tear. All right, the anus, that's the sun backwards. Right, that's how these things are happening. That's how we can see these things in a spiritual sense. All right, coming forward, and how the Trinity is one. It's one being, but has two mechanisms. Okay, and it's able to breathe with itself. And this is what, like Mary's talking about with the angel Gabriel, that I've laid this all out for y'all, because the spirit, the tribulation, the spiritual time frame is the time for us to be looking around and learning. And when that abomination came in the first time, and he brought the pit, the Abaddon, he opened it. He's got more keys he's opening up. The Dawn is acting as the Aquaman. And Aquaman is played by the J Son. The J Son is the Donald J Trump. And the Son is the Biden. And the Mimosa is the Kamala. But he has that torch, that Lady Liberty torch, and he's going down deep into the abyss, that darkness, that swamp. And he's going to drain it, which means he's going to bring out the soldiers and the if y'all seen Aquaman, he brings out that I forget the name of them. Either way, they're the demons of the deep, basically, and they're trying to prevent the surface war and all these, the water war and the surface war, and that's all the shit that's coming. But that's where the church, the Revelation War, the Trump Army, the Patriots Act, these things come as the crossroads are taken down, and our nation is wall upped. And you've already started your first part of the wall up. Okay? And that Trump was the book of Nehemiah being played out, in case y'all don't know, and the knee is a NY for the New York. Nehemiah. For that Mayan prophecy, you know, it just goes on. Because it's the net. It's the 10. And the net, as the net, the AI is connecting us to the world. It's connecting to us because we are God. It's connecting us to God. We have a net in our brain, and we have the net out there, and it's all connecting all this together. Okay, so this is where the sons of God, we're all being gathered up as the elect. We're being given this light, and we're all coming together to redo this earth as the beast man, as the old man and woman at wither away. The weather away. And right now, the tribulation time frame is when the dawn is speaking the puns and shit, and he's speaking the world into existence, and the puns are for the fun. And basically what's going to be going on is I hope y'all like, it's not going to be all dark comedy, but dark comedy, I love dark comedy, and basically dark comedy would kind of be like a crapture setting where you see like what we see here in Korea, where they're sending balloons filled with waste and poop and shit like that. So the portalets, are a great time travel device, okay, to make you feel like you were somewhere else. So the ones and zero, the curved and the positive, or the curved line and the straight line, the positive, the negative, the crossroad, the positive, the circle is the positive, the negative is that straight line. So this is where the straight line can either go grounded or it can go up and down. All right, but it can't maneuver in all ways per se. So the negative is kind of there to back up the positive, and we kind of need to find the good in all things, okay, because there is good in all things, and all things started off as good, and as all things started off as good, we need to remember this, because the beast man can't remember what's good. All right. They operate from the lower chakra, and the lower chakra gets you all irritated and fired off and whatever, and we all got our moments, but we also all got to rise up. So either way, it's a new dawn, a new day, and the playbooks are being dealt. Be the whole battery, positive, negative, that whole flow. Don't just be the divide.